Yeah, it's this method I've developed to manage life, because the other ways, when I was trying to be authentic, when I was trying to be myself, that was punished.
Yeah.
Or when I was, corrected for something, but told bad girl. And then, okay, I'm a bad girl, so now I have to protect everyone from the bad girl.
Welcome to Trauma Recovery Out Loud, where we talk about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going in our trauma recovery journeys. Join us and get some insights and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. Let's go.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're recording. Yay!
Woo!
Riverside has a new format. We're trying to jigger it.
Yeah.
We're so not fancy, Like, when I go into edit, Riverside suggests cutting out stuff like this because it's not for public consumption. But I'm like, it just makes us quirky.
Yeah.
And human.
I mean, not that we're into consumption. That's sort of the Victorian paradigm, but
I don't think that's the consumption they mean, but sure, okay.
Yeah, well, that's what they mean. That's what they mean. We all know that.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast. This is Trauma Recovery Out Loud podcast, where we're attempting to help you feel empowered, equipped, and educated about trauma, what it's like to live with it. I'm Stephane Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
Yeah. So, this is the last part of our 4-part series on what it's like to live with trauma every day. Life interrupted. Because it does interrupt our lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So, at any rate, so we're going to talk about the last one tonight, which is shame. We talked about, recap alert.
Recap alert.
So, thank you. So far, we've talked about anxiety, panic, and what was the third one?
Catastrophizing.
Catastrophizing. Then we talked about depression.
Yeah.
And today I just posted about flashbacks, dissociation, and triggers.
Yeah.
And so this is our last one.
Yeah.
This is not everything you can experience with if you have PTSD or cptsd or trauma or whatever. Certainly not the entirety of it.
Right.
But we picked some things that people are pretty familiar with, especially out in public, because this stuff's getting talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to say real quick that after this is posted next week, we're going to take a 2-week break because we have a series we're going to work on. We don't know exactly how to approach it, so we're going to take some time off to spend Monday nights working on it for the next couple weeks and see what we can get ourselves doing. So we're going to be posting a lot of things on our usual platforms with a lot of clips from previous episodes just to keep the ball rolling. A 2-week break.
Yeah.
All right, so let's define terms. What do we mean by shame? Anybody want to take that one?
There's a certain kind of shame that comes with trauma that is not like normal everyday shame, where you feel embarrassed or ashamed that you've done something wrong. This is like an ingrained feeling of, I'm the problem. That's the best way I can think of it. Like, I'm the reason that this has happened, or in any context. Carrying that kind of shame is very difficult, to say the least.
Right.
But basically, it dismisses the circumstance and makes in the person's mind, makes them the problem, and they may or may not be responsible, hold some responsibility, but shame judges you on as a person, and you're making a moral judgment about yourself that probably isn't true, and it's based in how you perceive yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
I think for me, a simple definition is it's not that I do bad things, it's I'm bad.
Right.
So it's an identity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very, very negative, very like hopeless kind of thing. I'm bad.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Your microphone's very hot, Evelyn. So maybe you might turn it down a little bit.
I keep having to turn it down. Sorry, guys, I'm a little loud.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's the feeling that you're not good enough. It's sort of a general feeling that you usually have.
Yeah.
Like that there's something about you that's wrong.
Yes. It's
And
not just like, oh, I'm sorry.
yeah. It's something about you that's wrong. It's something about you that causes problems, like Richelle said.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never be good enough for anything. So you might as well not even bother trying. Almost instantaneously, if something goes wrong, it's your fault.
Right.
Yeah, whether it is or not. Yeah.
Yeah, without even knowing all the facts. It's just you're at fault.
Yeah.
And I think we all have our own versions of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also deal with it within our group pretty frequently, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost every week. And
Comes up a
summer.
lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody's having a shame spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. What's it like to live with it? Who wants to go first? I think Evelyn wanted to jump right in.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's something that I deal with at some level pretty much on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when it's almost not there, other times when it's just very consuming. But, we've already touched on it, but in everyday life, it's that feeling of I'm not as good as the people around me. I don't measure up and I won't measure up.
Right.
It's like if someone's upset, I probably caused it.
Right.
Yeah.
I made some notes here. So if you see me glancing over here, it's that feeling of I can't really be myself because if they know who I really am, I'm going to be rejected.
Right.
So it's that feeling of I need to put on an image that I think will gain me approval and respect.
Yeah.
And that I won't be rejected. So it's that sort of like clamping down the real me, because the real me used to get in trouble. It used to be
Now,
punished.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because to some extent, there has to be some of that going on in life. Like when you go to your job, you can't act like you would at home, for example.
Right.
You can't put on your slippers and get your snacks and hang out on the couch.
Right. Or I can't just spontaneously sing or blurt out whatever comes to mind.
There has to be some level of self-control and like sort of, as you put it, clamping down on who you are. So how is it different for you when you're dealing with trauma-induced shame versus just normal sort of masking behavior that we might do in public?
Yeah. So I think just the normal behavior, it's me, but I'm just more reserved. So there isn't that I'm a bad person. It's more external. Like it wouldn't be appropriate for me to say this silly, joke I just thought of when the director of marketing made a comment. It's more I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm not trying to compensate for being me. I'm just myself, only reserved.
Yeah.
Right.
But with the toxic shame, with that feeling of I'm a problem, so I need to create some sort of persona that's acceptable. So there's that underlying feeling of me, myself, in any form. Is I in any form. I'm an editor. Self-editing is not acceptable. I would not be acceptable if. So I have to. Let's see, what would a professional person act like, or instead of me in that role.
Yeah,
right?
like.
And
Go ahead.
now, I was just gonna say, you end up pretending a lot. Like, you're just never yourself. Like, if you are naturally gregarious, but being gregarious got you in trouble as a kid a lot, and that becomes a toxic trait in your mind, then you might set that aside forever.
Yeah.
And never be gregarious again, because that's how toxic shame puts the clamp on you.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say, Richelle?
It's like your mere existence, or not your mere existence. The essence of your existence is bad. You're bad. It goes all the way down to that level if you let it. Especially if you've been traumatized extensively, you just seem to believe, whether consciously or unconsciously, I seem to believe, whether consciously or unconsciously, that I'm just bad. I'm not good enough. And like you were saying about being gregarious, what is my real personality? I don't even know. Because I was squelched so much as a kid and got in trouble so much as a kid, I never had a chance to really figure that out.
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to some degree, but like, for the most part, I don't really know who I am. And that's not a great feeling to have.
Yeah.
And my shame primarily comes from feelings of I'm not good enough. That is definitely. And then I
think we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a primary trauma-related common thing.
And it's so easy to see all the negative things about myself, but the positive things are very hard to see. My strengths are very hard to acknowledge and understand. Like, I don't even have a conscious, I say this, like, awareness of them.
Right.
Oh, I'm not good enough at that. Oh, that's, no big deal. Try to play it down when someone compliments me about something. Oh, it's no, and you think and it sounds like you're being
humble.
Humble.
Yeah.
Which may be true to a degree, but I think a lot of it is shame. I think a lot of it is someone compliments me and I try to play it down. I think it's shame based. I don't think it's necessarily humility.
Yeah.
And
I think it's that aspect of if I let my true self out, it's not safe. I'm going to be rejected. And so I think living in the persona for so long, you forget who you are, or maybe you never knew in the first place, like you were saying, Richelle. It's like, who am I really? I've been play acting for so long, and is it safe?
Right.
Because, it feels safe to just keep that hidden away.
Right.
But now it's not really me out there. It's some other person wearing my clothes and my makeup.
Yeah, and the thing becomes you, but it's not. This is so complicated. It's something it's a mask, a costume, something you've created to keep yourself safe, to avoid rejection, to avoid being found out.
Yeah.
So, like you said, what if they really know who I am?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that you never really take the costume or the mask off.
Right.
It's not like you go home and set it all aside. You're just yourself.
Right.
It almost becomes like something you just kind of permanently wear.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember at one point, this was some years ago, but I was thinking I need to be good all the time. Mm-hmm. And then, so I've got this kind of this weight of I need to be good no matter where I am, no matter what I do. And I would get home and I would think, well, no one's here, but God's still watching. So I need to keep this going. And I need to pray all the right prayers. And I need to make sure that I'm treating my animals well. And, just all of this. No real relaxation, just keeping it going. And I was just thinking about that today.
And there's no authenticity or genuineness about what you're doing, or barely any. I mean, there might be some there. You might be really feeling good about what you're doing, but also a lot of it is fake because you're putting on a show,
right?
For whatever reason, you're putting on a show, or you're hiding.
Yep.
Or whatever. And I think that there's some element of punishment that goes on. If you get it wrong, now this is something I do to myself a lot. If I get it wrong, I punish myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And punish myself for doing it wrong, for getting it wrong, for being wrong, for creating a problem, whatever it is I thought was happening.
Yes.
And it was my fault. I have to fix it. I have to preempt what everybody else has. We're sort of delving into a whole nother territory. But
Wait, are you jumping ahead this time?
No, I'm not jumping ahead.
Okay.
I'm jumping to a whole different topic.
She's taking a side quest.
Okay.
But it's all connected. That's the thing.
So the shame thing is, I think, a primary safety mechanism for people with trauma. I think that's how our brains organizes itself to keep us in control, because we have to be aware of what's going on. We have to keep track of what people are doing. There's all sorts of things. So shame is a way to have self-control, but it's not real. I want to say it's a game, but it's not a game because we're not manipulating people consciously. It's just an automatic behavior, an automatic thing that happens that we're not aware of. And then aberrant behavior starts, or internal dialogue starts, until you become aware of it and start actually working on it. It's just automatic. It's on. And maybe to some extent it is a way to try to manipulate the environment, but it's not done consciously.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting around going, let me see how to manipulate the situation. I'm not doing that.
Right. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it.
Yeah. It's this method I've developed to manage life, because the other ways, when I was trying to be authentic, when I was trying to be myself, that was punished. Yeah. Or when I was, corrected for something, told bad girl. And then, okay, I'm a bad girl, so now I have to protect everyone from the bad girl.
Right. You can be convinced you're bad.
Yeah.
You're not somebody who might behave badly once in a while. You're bad.
Yeah, or even do shameful things. But as soon as you do whatever it is that everyone does as humans, let's say I, yelled at my mom, that instead of, wow, I was disrespectful, I was out of line, let me apologize to her, which is where I can go if I'm not spiraling. But what can happen is I automatically feel that it's like hot, it hits like heat in my face, and it hits me like in the heart and the belly, and it's just like, oh, see, you're bad.
Right.
And then I got to deal with that. Yeah.
Right.
See, you're just a jerk. You yell at your mom. You're disrespectful. And then there's a whole litany because, I have 58 years of, almost 58 years of, or am I almost 59? Anyway, all these many years of amassing many, many sins and things. So.
Yes, well, we're human, so we do things we shouldn't do. And that's a tough pill to swallow for somebody who lives in toxic shame. You're human and you make mistakes and it's okay. Mistakes.
Yeah.
Making mistakes feels monumentally bad.
Yeah.
I constantly fight with myself over things like that, and then even things that aren't mistakes that I've done or that okay, so I'll give you an example. There was a situation at work, I'm not going to go into details. It wasn't a big deal, but my boss asked me a question about the situation, and I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
She asked me a direct question, gave her my answer, and that was it.
Right.
But I felt ashamed for a couple of days, like I had gotten people into trouble.
Right.
By answering a question my boss asked me directly, and I can't lie to her, she's my boss.
I mean, just last week on Tuesday, I talked to another group that was in the building we were in and felt ashamed of myself for the 3 different things that happened and wanted to fix it right away.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to email person in charge of the rental situation and like, if this group talks to you, this is what actually happened. Like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's a sign of growth.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, so I was planning on it as I was driving home. I think I said something to Richelle on the way home about it, and I just let the feeling ride. But it was so strong.
Yeah. So toxic shame can make you feel wrong when you haven't even done wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a really tough feeling. And the other one is, I keep going back to a martial arts class, but I do learn so much about these types of things during class. And messing up constantly in class is one of the most difficult things for me to be okay with. Like, the constant messing up means in my mind, my traumatized brain that isn't understanding what's going on, that I'm in trouble in some way, I'm unsafe in some way because I'm making mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a constant feeling of, so every Saturday morning, or most Saturday mornings, I would have this anxiety as soon as I woke up. And this past Saturday, Stephanie asked me as we're leaving, so is there anything going on that will keep you from learning today? And I said, well, not anything specific, but I always have this shame or this anxiety that comes up whenever we go to every Saturday pretty much. She said, what's that from? I said, I have no idea. But I figured out it's from that feeling of messing up. The constant
Sensei wants to know.
Yes.
It's from the constant feeling of messing up. And I realized that and we've said this, and I know I've said it myself to other people, it's called practice for a reason. It's called class for a reason. You're supposed to learn. Even if you've done it 50,000 times, the same thing, you're still learning. You're still practicing. And once I said that to myself, and I also tell myself I was safe several times throughout class, I was able to relax to a greater, I wasn't totally like 100% free with anxiety, but I was able enough to relax, to focus, and to listen, and to actually learn, and actually enjoy myself, and not just get through it.
Yeah.
Which made me feel really good, because that's not something that's happened for me a lot during class. I always feel, not always, but often feel that anxiety about messing up pretty constantly through the whole time. And I can't enjoy myself.
Yeah. It's ironic that the one environment where you're going to be challenged the most in this way is the one thing you're doing that creates the most amount of anxiety and shame.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that ironic? But it's also, as we're doing it, don't we realize that we experience so much growth because we do have to keep facing this? I know for me, the shame element comes in, look, I know if we're learning something new, of course, we're all going to mess it up, right?
Sure.
But as I see other people getting it, oh, he's got it, she's got it, they've got it. I'm over here still like, I'm still messing up. And then I start to feel like I should get it by now,
Yeah. And the thing is that, and I wanted to bring this up since you talked about it now, is that this element of toxic shame produces enormous amounts of anxiety.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which shuts people down, like in the learning environment we're talking about in the dojo. I can tell when one of these two is spiraling. I can see it in the eyes. With Richelle mainly, it's more like she can't seem to absorb what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With Evelyn, this sort of look comes over her where she's like, it just sort of starts happening. I'm like, she's spiraling about something, and and that it's like you guys have an enormous amount of anxiety going on in the moment that has to do with I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I can't figure this out. Why am I doing this? I should quit. That's all normal thoughts for anyone, but for people with toxic shame, it becomes like this massive hulking monster that just sits on you, like, and it'll make you quit. It'll make you stop, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in a learning environment, there's going to be tons of mistakes, especially in martial art. Like, the human body is not designed to do this. So nobody walks out of the womb knowing fully how to, generate force with their body, or how to block an incoming strike, or get out of the way, or make an effective kick or a punch, or take somebody down with an arm lock or whatever. Yeah. It's not natural.
Yeah.
It's not instinctual behavior. It has to be learned. So when you're learning it, it's going to take a lot of effort on your part and a lot of mistakes to get it right.
Yeah. And I think letting yourself be on that track, I think one of my biggest problems is comparison.
Yeah.
But if I just come in and go, okay, I'll do my best today. Don't worry about anything else, If I can somehow starting to get a little better at feeling the trigger when it's kind of coming, or anticipating it could very well come. I was checking some of my journal entries. There's a lot in there about shame. And then this happened, and then that happened. And I was reading something about something that had happened in class, and I thought, what if I assume that I just might be triggered? So what if I sort of pregame by telling myself, everybody in there is safe, the place is safe. If you mess up, and you probably will, it's okay. Keep trying, instead of trying to do damage control afterwards.
Yeah. Are you willing to tell the story about why you have a hard time with learning things that require somebody showing you how to do it again and again? Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Are we talking about when I was working as a contractor? No?
When you were younger, and some kids in the neighborhood were trying to teach you baseball.
Oh, that one. That one
shows up a lot.
Yeah, that's actually, that contractor thing stemmed from the baseball thing. Okay. So
I just want to make the connection between the trigger of what brings on the shame, and this is a moment in time where it started the shame.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. So back when we first moved to this area, my parents were on our church softball team. So we kids were too young for that, but my parents asked us if we were interested in having our own equipment, and maybe we could play in the yard, maybe we could play with some neighborhood kids. And we were new to the area. We weren't in a development anymore. So it was more of a neighborhood. The houses were spaced further apart. We didn't really know anybody yet. So we were like, yeah, let's do that. Because we thought, well, if nothing else, we can throw, and it was a softball. So we could throw the softball back and forth. We could kind of play ourselves, and then maybe we could get some neighbors to join us. So one day we all grabbed our equipment. I had my own little bat, I had my own little glove. I was about 11 years old, headed down to this flat part in our yard. And I think my brother went down the street, and there were a couple of boys who were there. And then our next door neighbors, there were a couple of boys. So we were like gathering together a group. So we had about 7 or 8 of us. It was kind of nice. So at first it was fine. I was in the outfield, and when I'm in the outfield, I'm way out in the outfield, and I'm like, la, la, la. Oh, here comes the ball. And then it's okay. I just sort of,
you can do that.
Like, throw it here, and I just throw it. And then I'm looking at, oh, buttercups, But.
Buttercups. You check to see if you like butter or not?
Oh, of course. But you need another person to confirm. I'm like, can someone confirm?
True.
So, anyway. Then we had to switch places, right? So it was time for us to get up to bat. And my brother, hit the ball, off he went, got on a base, whatever. So at least one other person that was on our team. And it was my turn. So I'm up there, I'm like, all right, let's go, And this neighbor boy was throwing the ball, and I missed. And he threw the ball, and I missed. And he threw the ball, and I missed. Now, normally that means you're out, right? 3 strikes and you're out. But he wanted to teach me how to hit the ball. Mm-hmm. So basically, there was a pause put in the game while this kid was trying to teach me how to hit the ball. So now the pressure's on. And just so you know, I naturally kind of have a fear of getting hit by a ball anyway. Mm-hmm. So not a good place to start. Mm-hmm. And he kept like throwing it to me. Okay, now hit it, and I kept missing, and I kept missing, and he kept trying to teach me, and I kept missing, and I was feeling the pressure, and I was feeling everybody else's eyes on me, and I just froze up. And then it wasn't that I couldn't. I just couldn't hit the ball. I just froze up. And he finally, I can still remember, and this was many years ago, that look in his eyes like hopeless cause, basically. Mm. And everyone just turned and walked away. And even my sister and my brother, I guess we're not playing anymore. I stayed in the yard. And I threw that ball in the air and tried to hit it. And then I gave up. I put my baseball bat in the closet. I didn't want to play anymore, and that was that.
And that's carried over into adulthood in a variety of ways. You mentioned the contracting job, which you could talk about if you want. But like I said, I see it in the dojo when we're especially like doing weapons work, and you're trying to figure out which way to twirl the bow or which way to move it, and you're like, and you get frozen.
Yeah.
And I have to come over and help you get unstuck and make it okay for you to be not sure what to do. But it happens a lot. It's happening less and less over time, I should say.
Yeah.
I think you're getting better at recognizing when that's happening and like choosing to move past it.
Yeah.
But it still happens a lot in a lot of ways. And that's just one of many things all of us carry, that memories of things, if something gets triggered, like we talked about the triggers last week, where something's happening to us, around us, within us, that is bringing on some heavy feeling, something big and scary. And in this case, for you, it was this feeling of I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
In the sense of that you just can't hit the ball.
Right.
Now, hitting a ball, not hitting a ball, it doesn't mean anything about a person. It just means they don't have skill, right?
Yeah. Or maybe even that day I just wasn't on my game.
Yeah.
I think the problem is it becomes this message. Like I told myself I'm not athletic. So I didn't even bother to try out for a sport, even though I enjoyed playing baseball or softball. Actually, ironically, at school, because we were on teams that were all girls or all boys, so I didn't have to deal with the boys. And later on, this was like in high school, I guess. I was actually pretty good. I was told I should try out for the track team, but I told myself I'm not good enough. And it was safer to be told I could than to try it and confirm what I actually believed was that I couldn't. So I told myself I'm not athletic. And even with our martial art, I told myself, even though I was very interested ever since I was a kid, just like any other kid back in the 80s, Karate Kid, let's do this,
Sure.
But I told myself,
Go
not
Gen
you.
X.
Yes. All out to Gen X. I told myself that that's not for you. That's for the athletic kids. But I'm doing it now.
Disqualifying
You
yourself.
are.
Give yourself a chance. Yeah.
That's part of that hiding that mask.
Yeah.
I'm not athletic.
Yeah.
So I will not be athletic. I will not even try. Why bother? And that's a real, I'm going to make a pun. That's a real shame.
I don't think you're saying that was shameful.
It's a real shame to be so caged by toxic shame. Like, now it can get confusing because Richelle mentioned just like regular shame, which to some extent is actually useful in certain contexts. Like if you, I don't know, rob some old lady, you should feel ashamed about that. I mean,
be ashamed of yourself. It's not that. Yeah, it's you should be ashamed of your behavior, of yourself in that situation. That was shameful.
Right. Oh gosh, I forgot where I was going.
Oh,
I think you're something about regular versus toxic shame.
Oh, right. When there is actually a reason to feel ashamed, you did something to hurt someone.
Yeah.
It can get really confusing because you've got the toxic shame and I don't want to say good shame, but the helpful shame, I guess.
Yeah, when you're legitimately guilty of something.
Right. Like, it can get confusing to try to sort out which is which.
Yeah.
Because it all sounds pretty similar. I know it's you are bad versus you did something bad. Right. But it all comes in kind of at the same time. Now, I guess for me, when it comes to that sort of thing, I generally use the Bible as a guideline to know when I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And I've developed a habit of repentance that I actually appreciate repentance a whole lot.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's kind of weird. But I actually appreciate it a whole lot. And so I'm ready almost immediately if I know that I did something wrong to repent. I don't necessarily need to feel ashamed of myself. I mean, I do enough to know I did something wrong, but I'm not letting it go on for days generally.
Right.
Yeah.
But the toxic shame, it lives in me like all the time. It never goes away.
Yeah. And I think the difference with like the repentance aspect is the shame makes you hide. The repentance makes you come clean, makes you be honest, makes you, here's what I did.
Right.
Not that I'm a terrible person, but I did this thing and this thing was wrong and I want to make it right. I think with the shame aspect is I did something bad. I'm bad. I need to go punish myself, put myself in the corner, and I don't want to face it because saying I did the bad thing is acknowledging the connection of that means I'm bad. If you can just disconnect that part, that's so much better.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, so there's this guy that comes into my store almost every day. He's a tennis player. He does it for a living. He teaches. He's doing it for a really long time. And from what his manager has told me, he's really good. He's our age. And he said something today that was really profound to me in the context of martial arts. He said he's currently competing against this other guy who's like driven to win, where he's not really engaged in the game. He's playing tennis, but it's not because he loves the game, because he wants to win. And Gerald, the guy that comes to my store every day, said, every time I play, because I've played for a long time, I'm always learning. I'm always learning something new. And he's probably played for 20 something years. And he teaches kids to play. I mean, he does a lot with it for the community and everything like that. And that really struck me. I'm like, it's so simple. What a great attitude to have. Because he said to me a while back, he said, if I win a game, great. But if I lose a game, I still learn. And so I haven't really lost anything.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a great attitude to have.
Well, yeah.
Because, it doesn't directly have to do with shame, but it does have to do with like how you view yourself and how you view what you're doing. If you make a mistake, you can still learn from it. You don't have to dwell in it. I want to try to embody this idea because I think it would help me a lot with the process of being in class and actually being able to enjoy myself. If I mess up, I can still learn. And I didn't fail. This is a big problem a lot of us traumatized people have, is we think we have failures in general, which is kind of the same thing as shame. And if you fail, in my mind, this may not be accurate, but in my mind, failure is really when you just give up, which I've done multiple times in my life. I don't think failure is making a mistake or even making a terrible faux pas and hurting someone you love. That could be a failure, sure, in context. But I think real failure is when you just give up. Like, let's say you do hurt someone that you care about and you just don't even bother to say anything to them. And you don't bother to try to make it right. I think that would be a failure more than trying to make it right or trying to do the right thing. So that kind of helped me see, like, oh yeah, I'm learning. I may mess up, and I'm not saying that tomorrow night I'm going to be out of the shame thing. I see if I was. But I am going to try to remember that idea of, we don't compete, obviously. We do a little bit, not in that same context. But even if I mess up, or when I mess up, I can still learn from it. And I hope that will start to shift me away from the constant feeling of shame and inadequacy to an idea of, I'm okay. I'm just learning. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about this whole thing. Like, anytime anybody is putting some effort into learning something, mistakes are going to happen. I don't care if you're born with this great skill as a prodigy, let's say playing piano. You sit down, you can play it, you're 3 years old, great. It doesn't mean you don't need guidance,
Right.
or that you'll never make a mistake or get it wrong, or that you don't need a teacher, right? You still need someone to see you doing what you're doing and correct you as you go so that you get closer and closer and closer and closer to the ideal.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means a lot of falling down and a lot of getting back up. And there's this, Japanese proverb that's pretty famous, that's fall down 7, get up 8. The math doesn't work on that one. I tried to make it work once, but it doesn't work. But that's beside the point. What it means is that if you fall down, just get up and try again. Like, don't give up just because you fell down. Falling down doesn't mean anything about you.
Right.
It means that you didn't hit the target. That's what it means. But people with toxic shame internalize that and become, I am a failure. I am incapable. I can't do this, no matter what I do or how I try, which isn't true. Anybody can learn anything.
Right.
Anybody can learn anything.
Yeah. I remember you asked me one time about something I was struggling with. I had failed at something, and I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to face that. And I remember you asking me, so what if you did fail? And I was like, that's okay. Like, you know,
What a revelation.
I know. And I was like, I had to think about it because that fail equals failure was so strong that it was unacceptable. I had to get over that. This is unacceptable to everybody fails. So if you failed at this, everybody fails sometimes. So, okay, now what? You know, it's not a place where you live and, sit there with a whip and see, I'm bad. I failed. I'm a failure. It's more, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
So I think we're starting to delve into how do you handle toxic shame? Like, what do you do about it? So I think we should probably make things discombobulated. Anyway, I think we should maybe spend a little time on that because I think it's helpful to know.
Yeah.
If it starts rising, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? You wanna give that a
good idea?
Yeah. I've got some notes.
Okay. Well, hit it, Evelyn.
Well, let me start with actually what I basically just said. Failing doesn't make me a failure. Everyone fails. I'm human. Sometimes I sin. Sometimes I make mistakes. I can forgive myself. I'm no better or worse than anyone else.
Yeah, we're talking about self-talk right now.
Yeah, I can choose to do the right thing and live openly and honestly in everything. So yeah, it's basically when I feel myself going into a shame spiral, I'm in a whirlwind of lies, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to grab onto some truths. And these are several. I pulled these out of some notes from a video that I had in my journal and, things that I can grab. How about this one? I can learn to love myself as I am, not as I wish I were.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is starting with developing self-awareness. You have to know that this toxic shame thing is a part of what's happening in your mind.
Yeah.
So you have to have self-awareness to start with.
Yeah, and to be able to recognize just because I believe this thing doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
Like I used to believe, I would just believe it. I believed my thoughts. And it was easy to believe the negative.
Right. Yeah. And I think to some extent, people around us, which could be friends, family, therapists, have to be able to remind us of what's true.
Yeah.
Right. So like the I am human, I make mistakes statement. It's something we kind of fundamentally know, but we need somebody to remind us.
And remind us that it's true about us. Like a lot of times I have to zoom out enough to go, what would I tell someone who is struggling with this?
Yeah.
And then now, can I tell that to myself? And that's something that I have worked on with my therapist, where I can be objectively true even about myself. But it does start with self-awareness and to realize, that is coming from shame.
Yeah. Right. And I think the self-awareness can begin with like physical sensations you might have. You mentioned hot face, feelings in your chest and gut, like the freeze feelings, or fear feelings.
Yeah.
So there might be some sensations going on, and then you're aware of the sensations. So you're like, oh, what's going on? Why am I feeling shame? Why am I feeling shame? And then you figure out what the source of it was, and then you start with the list of things like Evelyn has, where you start combating the lies, the whirlwind of lies, with truth. Grounding yourself in reality, because a lot of toxic shame lies take you immediately into dissociation.
Yes,
it's true.
Yeah,
I've experienced that quite a bit. I feel like this is how I feel when I think about shame, and it's kind of disheartening, but I also feel some hope through this conversation. I feel like it's so inherently ingrained in me that it can feel like it's impossible to overcome. I don't think it is, but it feels that way a lot of the time.
Right.
And it became part of my identity at some point, I guess, when I was a kid, because I was squashed so often being a kid, being myself, whatever that meant at the time. And now trying to redefine myself and figure out what it all means and who am I and that sort of thing brings the shame to the surface and makes me feel that constant feeling of inadequacy, that constant feeling of like, am I good enough? I don't think I'm good enough. If I do something well, I just downplay it. It's not a big deal. It doesn't matter. Any number of phrases like that. And I do have hope that it probably is ingrained, but I don't think it's inherent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that can be dislodged,
Yep.
but it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak on that for a minute, if that's okay.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Because I have done a lot of work on this specific problem, especially around my self-identity.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about right around 10 years ago, because it was not long after Evelyn and I met, that I started to develop a sense of awareness of myself that I wasn't quite as feminine as our mother made me to be. And that I actually liked metal music, and I wanted to wear rocker chick type clothes, so a lot of black leather, band t-shirts, leather jackets, what have you. And so I started to explore that. Along with that came this notion that self-acceptance for my even darker parts of like what my personality is actually like.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize until 10 years ago that I actually want to be one of the boys. That I want to, if I had been allowed to develop the way I would have in my younger years, I probably would have been fighting boys. I probably would have been rolling around in the dirt. I mean, I did to some extent with our cousins, our two boy cousins. We did do a lot of boy things with them, which I actually enjoyed. But the self-acceptance part, like, I've settled into a kind of a style of clothing. I listen to, fairly frequently. I listen to heavy metal music. I don't know. I just have that I'm a martial arts instructor. Kind of have to have that attitude anyway. Yeah. So I can't say I'm 100% there, but I'm definitely a lot more there than I used to be. And I could tell myself what I'm really like, who I really am to an extent. There's a lot of other things that are a struggle that I, have a lot of shame about. But it is possible to move out of, to dislodge things and to discover your personality and what you're actually like and who you actually are and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's so important to get there, or at least be on that path. I was thinking about, like, at work, when I started my job after, 30 years of not working in the workforce, my immediate thought was, I'm not as good as anyone here. But I started to think about that lately, especially I broke my foot a couple months ago. And my first thought was, I wonder if anyone will even miss me. Like, I wonder if they'll want to replace me because they'll realize that I didn't really do that much after all. And, all of these thoughts that I had. And I started to go into that. Well, if so, then what? Am I going to have to look for a job? And I had to go, whoa, just calm down. Your job right now is to heal and not to overthink about your job situation. Well, I found out that I was missed they had to have somebody temporarily to help cover my job. They tried to cover it among themselves, and it was still too much. And when I was able to get on Zoom calls, so I was after being out laid up for a while, then I worked, remotely for a couple of weeks. So we had Zoom call meetings, and I remember one time, and I hold this as a counter to the lies, is at one point I was going to share, and I saw a couple of the ladies, like they were leaning forward with smiles on their faces, like they wanted to hear what I had to say. And so part of my strategy has been to tell myself or remind myself, they needed to get another person. Your supervisor told you, we miss you. And when I came back, they said, we're so glad you're back. And they meant it. You know? So I think there's so much strength in reminding ourselves what's actually objectively true. Because the ideas I had, they were weird. So with our latest episode that we posted today, we had these little ghosts. Well,
in the thumbnail.
In the thumbnail, right? So I feel like a lot of these fantasies are like weird ghostly images of terrible worst case scenario things. So I can, defeat that with, remember how they were so genuinely happy to see you, things that were objectively true.
Yeah.
I find a lot of strength there.
Yeah. Wow, it's been
almost an hour.
56
hours
and 56
minutes.
56 hours. Sorry, guys.
That faux pas.
Sorry, guys, if it felt that long.
It's like from Madagascar 2. 69 weeks. No, 6 to 9 weeks.
Shall we wrap up, or do we have anything else to say?
I think one of the things that I wrote under my What's True column is I can come out and be seen.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a good thing to think about.
Yeah.
Agree.
If you carry toxic shame, you can come out and be seen.
Yeah.
You can. It's possible. And you're worth doing that for.
Yeah.
And you're not a bad person.
Right.
You're a human person who sometimes makes mistakes.
Just like everybody else.
I'm not special.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, message received.
One. Aye, Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
Shall we sum up?
Yes. Summation alert.
All right. So we are talking about toxic shame. So when we say toxic shame, we're not talking about the kind of shame somebody feels if they did something wrong. When they actually did something wrong.
Yeah.
That can be a helpful thing if it prevents a person from doing whatever it was they did again.
Right.
Like that could lead to repentance. Like, that's a good thing.
Right.
What we're talking about is more along the lines of, I am bad. Not I did something bad. But
Right.
I am bad.
Right.
I am a problem. I don't belong here.
Yeah.
I should just be quiet. I should just hide. I should whatever. Whatever you've decided is true. And that leads to a lot of hiding and pretending and faking and putting on a show, trying to control things by, whatever it is you're doing to prevent rejection.
Right.
Or hurt or abuse or whatever it is you're afraid of. It can lead to a lot of aberrant behavior that's actually kind of harmful to you, but also to other people.
Yeah.
It could stop you from doing things that are good for you, like going to martial arts class and learning how to fight. It can stop you from doing something like that, or learning how to play softball, or being at peace at home, or being at peace in public, or figuring out who you are or what you're like. I mean, it's whole host of things.
Yeah.
That can go on. It gets triggered by things that are happening. Someone said something that reminded you of something that brought on shame, that told you were bad.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so then we have to work to become self-aware about this. Like, the only way, this is the only way to undo toxic shame, it's to develop self-awareness about the fact that you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Begin to work with yourself and with someone else, preferably a qualified professional, to start discovering what's true. And then work, when you know you've been triggered, work to remind yourself of what's true.
Mm-hmm.
And keep doing that persistently and consistently over a period of time until the feelings of I am bad start to dissipate. Because they will dissipate at some point.
Yeah.
And depending on how complex or complicated or long-term your trauma is, it could take a while.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It
Will, 5 degrees, get less and less.
Yes.
So, you know, don't give up hope just because it's hard.
Right.
It's okay to make mistakes and fail at it and just try again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, is that a good summation?
Yeah.
Yes. You are welcome as you are to the human family.
Amen.
All right.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I guess it's time for the dance. Push all the buttons.
Right.
All the things. Follow.
There. Subscribe.
You know what to do.
You know what to do. Tell a friend.
Right. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
Share our
Tell 3
podcast.
friends.
Tell 15 friends.
All the friends.
Tell your 1,000 friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
I only have a couple hundred. I like to keep it small.
I don't think I have that many anymore.
Anyway, yeah, tell your friends, tell your family, share it with somebody you think might have toxic shame or any number of things that we've already talked about. There's a whole list of stuff on our Spotify and YouTube channels where we have a whole bunch of things that we have talked about relating to trauma. There's also a good bit of stuff about self-defense.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. If you go back far enough, you know, you'll see all sorts of things. So
yeah, that was our first endeavor into this. We just sort of kept it there, whatever.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, we want to help people to grow and become better, just like we're working to become better.
Yep.
Yes.
We're doing this podcast. We're living our trauma out loud in front of you.
That's why we call it, because we are all in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. We're not therapists. We're not experts. We're not professionals. We're just people who are just living their lives. Just peeps. Just peeps. All right. Well, I think that's all I have for now. So I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Richelle Knapp.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you next time. For more episodes, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Comment, like, and subscribe to spread the word and help the channel grow.